Alright. Yeah, so a lot of what you're doing is mostly just like, again, like jumping past the team to get your team in, right? So obviously you don't want to do this too freely if they have shatter or something, or if like your team is like, this doesn't work so well in rank because your team will just like not do much sometimes, or they'll just die to the Rhine. But in a lot of cases, even in rank, you can sort of just like look at this and be like, I just saw someone over there by themselves. I can see all these people stacked on the left. I'm just gonna jump over there with bubble, with my two bubbles, and then run this way, right? And just keep kiting to point, right? And they either chase you, right, which is very common when people see monkey jump, is this debuff will fly at you, right? You'll eat aggro and cooldowns, right? And then you'll be fine because you can either jump back or like jump to the high ground where you can get healed by your Ana after the divas use boosters, right? Um, or just keep kiting and running around and like dodging, right? Once you get over here, you can get healed by your Ana, and the enemy team will like have chased you in circles essentially, right? Um, and will be being shot in the back the whole time, right? So you just need to be really active and jump at the first like good look you see, right? It doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be a particularly like amazing look. And sometimes you'll get punished and die, right? But that's part of playing monkey. And then also, you're not gonna figure out like what are good looks and what are bad looks if you just like are really hesitant to jump in general. Um, but yeah. So let's see. Right here, essentially. Like honestly, you could just take your bubble and just go, right? And it wouldn't be that bad. Yeah, you're still not jumping, right? You're walking in, right? And it's good that like, but do you see how like so this isn't bad. Like you use your tracer to make space for you, right? To get into the map, right? But if you don't have like, this is something that won't work outside of like scrims, right? And higher in rank, your tracer is not going to like open the space for you. Your tracer could also very easily die, right? So and most of the time you want to be leading the action, right? Except against diving dive. Diving dive is a little wonk because if you go too early, what happens in a lot of cases is that um well, like monkey doesn't really fight for map control super well, unlike ball, right? So letting your team like fight for map control for you before you make your jump is really good. You just like try and position in a place where you can't get poked too hard, and you can like help protect your team in the meantime until like your team has the map control to initiate a dive. But against like brawl comps, the way you play changes. Like you can get away with a lot more, um, and there's less need to protect your team as much, and you're much more independent. So trying to like relying on your team to open up space for you to walk in is like very like passive, and it's taking a lot of the agency out of your hands. Like it still works because like your team is like good and and like helps you in these cases, right? But like if you want to have more agency, more control over the situation, you need to like lead it yourself for the most part. You do get into the map though. The jump is super risky, because like again, like see how like you're not actually pulling them back. Like this high ground's nice, but there's no one here, right? So when I said like when jump to the high ground, it's because normally like you presumably like force them into a situation where the Rhine's like now here, and then somebody will be hiding here maybe, and somebody will be hiding here, right? And that's when jumping to this high ground suddenly becomes really good, right? But this is just jumping because like I said to go high ground. And there's no real reason to jump yet, and like the enemy team is fighting over here, right? So instead of doing this, just like chill here, fight this guy around the corner, like play it like a Reinhardt essentially. And then if he tries to overextend into you, then you bubble him off and then try and kill him. Or right, you like jump past him into his backline, mess him up with double bubble, right? And then meanwhile and try to isolate the Rhine and kill him with like that way, right? Um, and if he backs up, then you just let him back up, and then you got your team in, and then you jump for the high ground like we talked about, right? Or at least on top of the card, or just like elevated positions in general. Um, but this jump doesn't accomplish anything because like uh, there's no one here, right?
I've reached the objective. Let's coordinate.
Yeah. Likewise, this jump is the same problem where you jumped and they force people in this direction. So your next jump should be to get Zarya bubble from where you were at. Just jump over here, literally just land here with Zarya bubble and then like kite, right? So like land here, kite this way, or land here, kite this way, or like try to do something. Or like regroup with your team, right? But like it shouldn't be just retaking this high ground because now the diva like knows you have no bubble, saw you have no jump, and like this is like inviting her to come kill you, right? Except she's really bad, but okay, there she is. Right. Alright. So you lived, right? But that was definitely really dicey. This is a good flank play. You can just walk in here. That's always nice. Again, right? Why are we jumping here? There's no one here, right? So if you look, the whole team is in this area, right? So instead of jumping this way, you just kind of want to chill here, right? For the most part, right? If you get forced back, you back up, right? And then if like you get pressured from this direction, right? Then jumping this way is fine. As well as like anything that'll maintain LS with your Ana is generally fine. You can even jump into the hut and hide in there and just like play ring around the Rosie with the Diva and just be unchaseable. Like that's totally fine as well. It doesn't like the elevation matters when there's people on the ground next to you. But if there's no one on the ground next to you, like this is empty, then jumping low ground doesn't really matter. Um, and as long as you can maintain LS with your Ana and like dodge the Diva, you're doing fine. Um, until you can set up like an aggressive play. But this is overall has been like really passive and jumping towards like this spot, which doesn't really matter. Like again, like when you jump here, you invite the Diva to come at you, right? So that's why you want to play areas with cover, right? So normally cover is high ground, right? But because the enemy team is not anywhere close to you, low ground is also cover. And it's better cover against Diva to be honest, because you can run in circles. Oh.
Re-engaging.
Alright, so you just want to wait here until your team has gone into position, right? And when your team starts approaching this point, then you make some kind of play on the right side, right? But you don't want to peek and give away your position too early. Yeah, again, right? Like this is too far, right? Look where your Ana is. Ana's not quite there. Actually, Ana's here. Okay, so I guess relative to Ana, this is fine. But like, um, again, like Zarya can't bubble you. Like nothing's going on, right? Trying to think of a better way to like break this down. Like ignoring the fact that you got booped. Like again, if you just jump, what's gonna happen is the Diva's just gonna fly at you, right? And your team's not in position to like do anything but the Rhine. So you want to be pressuring backline, right? So in this case, like it would be the same thing where you can jump like behind here and then you're closer to them, right? You don't have to drop to like zap them. And then you can ring around the Rosie, or like you can just like chill and wait while your team sets up like your Echo and Zarya set up a bit more. So that way this team is forced to like spread out and start playing a bit more back to respect these angles you're gaining, right? And once they start playing more back, then it becomes much more reasonable to jump um, onto this location or onto the like the hut, whatever the case may be, or even like back here, right? Because like the backline will start backing up, right? Right now they're all really tight to the Rhine, right? So there's no backline to jump yet, right? Everyone's like super together. Oh wait, somehow I got off you. Okay.
Coming through.
Hello there.
I feel great.
So when you almost have primal like this, don't be afraid to get really aggressive here. Obviously your team is like on cart for the most part still. But like you can like easily like walk up the bridge, and if like you bait Diva aggression, sorry, if like the Diva spots you and aggresses on you, you're not actually scared of the Diva because you have full cooldowns and primal coming up. So like you can get really aggressive with the enemy team. You can break up the push before it even happens. You can split them up, and then like your Tracer can like I mean they're still waiting for respawns as well. So if you get like if you like split them up, your Echo and your Tracer can pretty easily capitalize for a free kill. And as long as you don't die, or even if you do die, a free kill here, like 1 for 1 or even like or 2 for 1, like these are like very value trades here because it'll stop them from just straight up defending the castle at all. Like Monkey's just a very high tempo hero. Oh yeah, this is really which is like yeah. So in this case, like don't drop down, like don't hide there, like just go this way, drop down, right? Abuse your vertical mobility, right? Hello. Yeah, so as soon as Zarya has LOS, right? Just like literally just like jump up, zap 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 zap, drop. You don't even need to land to be honest, right? If you feel scared, if you see that McCree in your face, like maybe just don't and then drop. That way you didn't burn your bubble either. And if they chase you, you just drop your bubble and run essentially, and then or like just run normally and then jump back up to high ground, knowing that like their tanks have dropped and you can't protect the backline anymore, and then you go and double bubble and kill them, right? And primal. Yeah, this jump again, like it doesn't do anything, right? Like there's no one here. So there's no reason to take this position when like this is actually what you want because it's close to them in a position where they don't necessarily know where you are. Um and you're like you're covered, right? So you have cover, right? You're using like the reverse slope essentially, right? The reverse high ground. You're also close to them, which is what you want as monkey, right? And they may or may not know exactly where you are, right? Which is really good. It's hard to push. It's hard for them to pressure you if they don't know where you are, right? But this like like everything's wrong here. You're wrong. Yeah, sorry. You're far, right? You're far, so you can't easily get to them. You're they know you're here because they just saw you jump, right? Um, and I forgot the third thing was. Was it like easily pokeable, right? Like all they have to do is like send a guy over here, and like wow, they're shooting you, right? And obviously like you have help, but like this is not really exactly where you want to be, right? Right now they see you and just immediately go this way. Do you see this, right? As opposed to if you just chill here and if they decide to go that way, then you can punish the backline, right? Nice block. Again, don't stick too long here, right? Like by the time the rank gets to you, that's kind of too late, right? So you want to be dropping before it even gets to you, right? You have more range than him, just ever so slightly, so there's like a reason for that. You're primal here, so you can do whatever you want. Alright, jungling could use some work, but you know, good enough. Alright, so like again, not again, but like high tempo, right? As soon as you get those kills, like you got all your cooldowns back, just jump straight up there, right? And if you get pressured, you can just drop, right? So you can land here, and then drop on the other side. You can land like up here and then like jump over this wall or like back up this way. This is probably the most committal one, is like trying to cut off the retreat here. But for the most part, like jumping here, you drop on this side, jumping here, you can drop off on that side, right? But either way, one of those. Yeah, so again, this is very all in, very committal, which is fine because you're up 2. So just keep that in mind. This is the most aggressive option. This is no easy drop. Hey, Mad Dog. How's it going? Sorry we never got around to your VOD. The code died. Doing alright? Oh. Hit your head on it. So again, this map's flatter. So this part of the map is flatter. So as soon as you get to flatter terrain, it becomes less about like staging and positioning, and more about just getting everyone on board, getting your angles, like as far as you can get them, as much as they can get set up. Like so, like one guy here maybe, right? Like your Zarya or something, and then like you just like go, right? And again, your goal is to like essentially jump past them, and pull them back, but like not so far past that they can just ignore you, right? That's the big problem with what you were doing earlier, is you're jumping so far away that like they don't care, right? And for those part, and like sometimes like the diva would chase you, right? But like that's just the diva, and like is also a losing matchup, so you require help, right? Which is like not really what you want. So, like as soon as you get bubble back, right? This jump's great, right? Even better, you landed on this high ground. So now like you can just play high ground, zap them from above. You have bubbles, right? You're invincible. This is great, and you're also closing in on primal. So if you just get like a good value off this, off your bubble, you'll have primal and you can live. Even if you go more aggressive. Alright. So part of the problem is that you dropped there. I know you weren't expecting to land on a wall, but you landed on a wall. So you gotta like stick to the wall, right? And then second, right, because you dropped out of the wall, you dropped out of your bubble, right? Your bubble's sitting on the top of the wall, and this is what gets you flash, right? And if you just stayed inside your bubble longer, you probably don't get flashed, you probably don't get fanned, you have more health, and then you survive long enough to actually jump out and before like just dying to like the bomb, right? That's not you. Like you have more room to like play with. I don't know if that made sense because you did die to a bomb, so that's not something you really can control. But like you know, all right, you have primal coming up. You're just chilling here. You're waiting for your team to get numbers, and then again, like the timing is much more important than the position. What's a good VOD to submit? Any kind of close game, to be honest, win or lose, as long as like you felt like you played well and it was close, right? Um, Stomps are generally not the best because there's a lot of factors that are outside of your control that usually result in stomps. But yeah. All right. So this jump's fine, right? Because it puts you directly over the backline, right? Notice where the backline is. So this is why it's threatening, and it causes people to back out this way, right? And also causes the diva to push you, right? That's why this jump is different than a lot of your previous jumps, because like their backline is here. Would an OT win work? Sure. I probably won't get to the whole thing because it's like kind of long, but an OT win presumably means that was pretty like close, right? So you kind of really don't want to drop bubble here. I know the diva's threatening, but you are getting like range support, right? Like there's literally no one else for your Ana to heal, or there shouldn't be anyone. So if you're gonna play for a positioning play first, unless this is like 2 to 3 heroes, you shouldn't drop your bubble. 15 minutes I think is the game time. Yeah, that's probably fine. I mean, the rate I do I review VODs, 15 minutes of game time is probably like an hour VOD review. So yeah, probably won't get the whole thing, but that sounds fine. Nice. Primal was probably not necessary right then, but I mean, nothing wrong with it. Alright, so generally speaking, you want to spend more time, like, if you're jumping, trying to kick people around. So let's talk about your primal real quick. That's fine. This is fine, right? Once you're in the middle of everyone, if you're not specifically trying to single someone out and kill them, or kick someone out into your team, like when you turn around, basically, if you're not specifically trying to kill someone here, your next jump should take you relatively high, so that way you have the ability to like look at what's going on and then like choose where you're going to land, right? And based on where you land, you can either try to like you can change like your main goals are disruption, right? Finding someone to kill because you do consistent damage, and can have a lot of burst depending on like how good you are primally, um, or you can like single someone out and knock them into your team for them to kill, right? But that's hard to do without vision. So it's very easy as primal to like lose track of everything that's going on around you because like you're just like you're swiping your mouse everywhere, you know, and holding M1 or just mashing M1. And the thing is, jumping up like buys you a lot of time to reset mentally, to find like what's going on around you, get vision, collect information, and then it also allows you to preserve your health a bit more. Because like when you're like just like walking through them, you're eating so much damage, right? You're literally a Bob at that point, right? And Bob can just die under sustained focus fire. So again, if you already messed up your primal to the point where you can't find someone to single out, just jump up to soft reset. Unless you're running out of health already, then just jump out, right? But if you've got health, right, jump up. Like identify your actual target, right, or what you actually want to accomplish with your primal, then land and go about it, right? Um, but don't panic when you like primal and then lose track of what's going on, right? It's a lot. In some ways, primal's a lot harder than blade, but in a lot of ways, it's a lot more forgiving. So you just need to like chill for a second, right? Resettle yourself, right, and then find what to do. But you see how like you got stunned and then you jumped and you straight up lost 700 HP. Right, that's how much damage you can take in primal if all you do is sit in front of them. This jump up is really good, right? But this is an escape jump, and I'd like to see you do this before you needed to escape, so that way you could have more impact on your actual primal. Jump's good. You should probably, yeah, just bubble this off. This area is probably fine. Don't get greedy with your bubble here. If that guy had more ammo, you actually could have died there. Nice. Alright. Clutch your defense.
Ready for battle.
I think we already talked about like the specifics of first point, but we'll run through it real quick. Oh,
Ready for battle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
alright, yeah. So again, your goal is to let them get close to you before you reveal, right? So that means like you just kind of chill here, and when they start walking under you, you kind of like poke your nose out, and then you can like zap underneath as they cross, right? And then you can figure out what to do from there, right? You can drop and chase them, or you can like just bubble them off. They start splitting up, right, and dropping and going for pressure, or just like literally sit here and zap if they can't figure out what to do, right? But like don't show early and get poked out by people over here, right? This is what you don't want. Somebody plucking you, like picking at you from here. You want them all to try to like rotate because they think it's free. Good divas will literally just fly up here to preemptively find you, right? in some cases it can be good to have like more teammates here. I know I told Foosh to play on your left, but like having like your Ana up here is like actually a pretty big deal sometimes. But yeah. Yeah, by showing here, you're inviting pressure, right? Like, notice what they do, right? They see you, and they back up, right? And they start spreading out. This is what you don't want. You want them to try to walk through the choke. Like, look at them. These rats. They refuse. Like, by the time they walk out, like, you're getting pressured by the Lucio, you have your bubble forced, right? And then, like, you're not able to actually do what you want to do, right? This is a good disengage. You realize that, like, you don't want to be close to them. Yeah, this is not so great. Again, if you want to jump, right? If you want to use bubble, you should be pairing this with jump because you want to get, or like you need to already be close enough to them, right? So you should probably be jumping at this corner so you have cover, right? Zapping and dropping bubble so to apply more pressure here, and then starting to run and then running away as your bubble like either as they turn around try to push you, or as your bubble like starts expiring, right? But like that's how you apply pressure. Otherwise, just like chill here and wait for them to try to touch point, and then like let them like start splitting up before you make a play, right? But just walking and dropping bubble, this is like the worst outcome because you apply no pressure, and also, right, you still have the same problem where you don't have bubble anymore. Like, you have jump, which is nice, but, like, you don't have bubble. This jump's kind of mediocre. Again, like, it doesn't actually put you close to them, and then this guy just walks out and plinks you, right? And you don't want that. So what you want to do is instead, like, just walk over here, like, and just sit here, right? This is close to them, and it's covered, right? So, or, like, something like that, right? There's a bunch of stuff you can do. You can hide behind the cart, right? And then when they walk out, you're still contesting point, and they have to, like, push you to do anything, and if they push you, you just bulb them off and then kill them or something, right? If it's a single person, or you jump past them and go for the back line if it's, like, multiple people, right? There's a bunch of things you can do, but the point is you want to be close to them or in a position where they have to do something about you, right? This isn't a position they have to do anything about because in order to like make a play, you still have to like drop in front of them and push in, right? Or jump at them, which is not really the best, right? So this high ground's not really that valuable. I guess he baited a flashbang. But see, like, he's just shooting you here, and you don't like this. It's hard for you to get healed from here as well. This is good, though, right? This is what you want. This is what you wanted earlier, right? Is for them to not know you're here or ignore you, right? And then for them to run through, and then you come out and zap, right? Feels good. But this is, like, kind of scary, because, like, you're behind the play now. It's still not bad. Like, you forced a lot of attention, right? But you started this play missing health, and you're really feeling it now. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. That wasn't that bad, though, at the very end. Yeah, again, the jump to the high ground wasn't necessarily bad, per se. It was just like, it's inviting pressure, right? It's inviting the McCree to shoot you, it's inviting the D.Va to fly at you. And that's really what you don't want. Because you don't want to get pressured before the play actually starts, without like them getting really punished for it. Again, you're peeking really early, we talked about this, so I'm not really going to go over it again. Again, there's the D.Va, there's your bubble. That's fine. Your team is already up, so you didn't need a primal there, so tanking the death isn't that bad. Alright, looks like we're out of time. Wait, never mind. I was looking the wrong number. Alright, so we don't have much ults here, so I expect to see an early primal here, relatively speaking. Yeah, this is what you want, right? Big zap. They just completely ignore you, right? Apply a lot of pressure. Chasing them into the tunnel, maybe not the play. And again, like, you see how you spent no time actually jumping up and resetting? And then also, the primal, like, the place you popped the primal forced you to do this, where you had to jump through and then suddenly you're in the middle of them, and then, like, by the time you get to jump back, you're getting stunned and dying. But, like, for the most part, right, you don't want to chase them in, you just, like, chase them to here, then you stop, go back around, right, and then maybe jump towards a high ground or something, right? Or just, like, jump over the wall, land here as they're coming out, right, maybe, if you expect them to stay in the tunnel for a little bit longer, but this is probably better. Then you can drop in the Kree, apply pressure, and then primal to finish the kill, right? That's a generally more efficient way to do this, than chasing through the tunnel and then having your primal forced early. But, like, again, the more time you spend on the ground as primal, against the comp like this, is, like, you're just going to die immediately. again, kind of risky to take the frontal approach, right? If you want to jump, you can jump over here, right? And we talked about how like on this side you can land and drop here, and you can also land and drop here, right? And then you have an extra drop where you can drop down here and then grab the mega and rejoin the fight later. Um, but like you don't want to take like very like frontal engagements because you're just going to get not you're not going to apply any real kill pressure, right? Like this is not kill pressure, right? This is kill pressure, right? These are people who like might actually die. This guy is not even like slightly scared of you. Right now you jump in, but you have no bubble, you have no primal, right? I know you're expecting nano, but like again, like if you want to jump, right, you jump over here, right, and get the nano later, right? If necessary, right? Again, like don't lean when you're under pressure, don't lean back in the direction of your team, right? Um, like leaning that way is fine in certain cases when you're trying to get healing, but like notice like your actual escape is low ground, right? So your actual escape is like things that will get you over the wall, right? So like you can hug this wall and then jump over the corner, right? Just with your basic jump, and that will get you to safety. But like going back to your team won't actually help you. What rank is this? This is probably like high plat low diamond. This is like a 2-9 scrim or something, I think. Yeah. So, um, it's only cover on this side of the wall when you have your jump almost back. So yeah, that kind of sucked. But like this side of the wall is generally much better, and you can pretty easily just like I'm pretty sure you can jump over this. I'll confirm that after this, but anyways, team wins. That's good.
Further experimentation required.
Yeah, when you have help, you're not actually that afraid of Reaper. Like you have bubble, right? Especially when you see this purple, this should be like a jump, right? Just straight up jump over here, land on this thing, zap, apply pressure, and if you want to get more like pressure or your bubble or your jump is coming up cooldown, you just drop and bubble, right? And you like are literally zapping everyone. Um, but you can be way more aggressive just by dropping right here. And as soon as you see this purple, this should be a jump over to this high ground, right? And this could probably be a jump to this high ground anyways, regardless. But you know, like I know they just lamp, right? But like lamp when they're full health is not a cooldown, and then they'll just die when they hit low health, right? Because the lamp will expire. So if it's a bad lamp, you literally don't care about it, and like this is a great anti to apply pressure on because they can't even heal. I mean that's the definition of anti-heal, but you know, yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah, so you dropped and you applied pressure to tanks, but like again, where were the squishies? They were all over here, right? And like if you just jump over here, right, you gotta do what you want and then you can drop. And like you like high ground is to buy you time to make good decisions for the most part, right? And plus it gets you free engages sometimes. So jumping directly over them is like really good. So walking at tanks is okay because it's safe, right? But you'd rather just like especially if you're gonna walk at these people, not the tanks, you know. Hello, Lucio. This bubble is kind of mediocre. It's okay, I guess. Oh, that's awkward. This is probably not the primal. If you were going to use a primal, you probably should have used it earlier, but...
Appear to have lost control. Vital signs lost.
Alright. Yeah, so in this case, you literally just need to like walk out this way probably and just jump straight onto the bridge, bubble it, and then like cut off the backline. This will force them to either like have to tank your damage, or for the BAP to like walk this way until like your Echo's line of sight and split from the team, right? Either way, it's good, right? But like again, you're ending up in the front line. This Lucio, you put yourself in a position to get booped by the Lucio, and it just kind of sucks, right? You do land on high ground though, but you don't have bubble, so it's kind of awkward. All right, you got your Zarya bubble, you got your personal bubble, right? Once you're actually in a position where you can zap people, like Monkey just feels so good, right? You just need to set yourself up for that. Good isolation of McCree. Bubble this, yeah. Making sure there's no C9, nice. Alright, this seems like a good place to stop. Overall, okay, in summary, primal mechanics could use some work. The biggest thing for you though is like not necessarily like the raw technical details. It's mostly just like figuring out um keep in mind there's only three things you can really do with primal, right? Besides like giving yourself another health bar, the obvious stuff, right? Well, you can like single someone out and kill them, right? You can kick someone out of position into your team, or you can just like kind of mess with their positioning, like scatter them a bunch, and then and then have your team like clean house. And you can oftentimes do a lot of these at the same time, right? Maybe you jump in, you scatter them, you kick someone into your team, and then you go and find like someone to focus with the rest of your primal, right? Um, like you can do a lot of these at the same time, right? But it's just hard to make these decisions that without information, right? So don't be afraid to just jump up sometimes in primal, right? Jump up, look down, like spin around, find people, right? And get a picture of what the battlefield looks like, right? And then once you've figured that out, it's a lot easier to make good decisions. Also with your jumps, try and like land close to people. um, Either like take high ground or positions that like that make you actually threatening. Because a lot of the times, especially on first point, you would jump to a spot and they would just kind of like walk past you, or just not ignore you, or it would just have a solo diva push you and you wouldn't have help because you were so deep. So don't be afraid to like, especially with like the cooldowns you have, to like you don't necessarily want to jump at this team per se, but you do want to jump like near this team, right? So that way like you apply real pressure to the backline. And the more focused they are on something else, the more you can get away with, right? So when the team is running this way to get to your Ana, right, when the whole team is trying to cross the bridge and they're focused on cart, going around this way is like a free pass into their backline. Like this Lucio will not be in position to deal with you because he's out here trying to push you, right? Um, and yeah, like, do you remember like when like they were all focused on getting through the choke for once, right? And they ignored you, right? You literally just followed them all the way over here, just zapping, right? You can get away with murder if like they're already focused on something else in their comms. So if you can read that as well and just make plays off of that, like you can get really aggressive on them. Um, I think those are the two big things. Yeah. Keep sending me monkey vods if you want to keep practicing it, or you can send me other stuff. I don't really care. Um, yeah. Have any questions, comments, concerns? Let me know. And yeah, gonna end the VOD here.